Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a look at section 7.4, which is about confidence intervals, and look at question number 10. It says a survey of businesses showed that a mean of 17%, since it's a survey, I'm going to call that X bar, 17%, of gross income was spent on office overhead with a standard deviation of 5%. Following a normal distribution at a 99% confidence level. So let's see, when the when the confidence level is 99%, that corresponds to a Z score of 2.576. So that's the number we're going to have to use for Z. There we go. Oops, there we go. I'm having some trouble with my pens today. The margin of error was 10.5%. So I'm going to write that as 0.105. And that says how many businesses were surveyed. So we need to determine what N is. Now, there's two formulas that we can use that will be helpful for us. Two of them that look like we can use that refer to the margin of error. So one of them is the original formula for margin of error, which is E equals Z times the root of P times 1 minus P over N. And the other one is the one that we learned a little bit later on when we're doing repeated samples. And it's a nice short formula, Z times sigma over the root of N. But that is meant for when we take repeated samples. And so this refers to I think that refers, I'm not sure if that standard deviation refers to the standard deviation of the sample means, or if it's the underlying standard deviation. It doesn't say of the sample means, so I'm a little confused about that myself. But because this is for repeated samples, and there's nothing about this question that makes me think that this is about repeated samples, it's really just one survey. So because of that, I'm going to say no, let's not do that. However, if you were to plug in the value for E and the value for the standard deviation and the Z value that we just determined here, and then solve for N, you would get about 1.5, which, if you look up in the back of the book, it says about 2, a sample of about 2. But to me, that doesn't seem quite right with this question, again, because it's not a repeated sample problem. And, frankly, it's just not reasonable. A survey of 2 businesses, actually, leading to a calculation of a mean of, the whole thing just seems ludicrous. So I'm instead going to go with this, unfortunately, longer formula. We're going to plug in our numbers here. So we're going to get why is my pen not working? 0.105. Okay, maybe I'll try again down here. So I'll try and down here a little bit more room. 0.105 is the 10.5% margin of error. And our Z score is going to be 2.576. That corresponds to a 99% confidence level, times the square root of 17%, which is our probability of probability the gross income is spent on office overhead, times 0.83, and divided by the number we're trying to find, which is N. So if I rearrange all of this, I get 0.105 divided by 2.576. I can square both sides, and then I get 0.17 times 0.83 over N. And doing a little cross multiplication magic, we get 2.576 squared times 17% times 83% divided by 0.105, also squared. Kind of hard to read, sorry about that. So let's see what we get. So this yields a much more reasonable answer of 84.93, or I'll just say about 85 businesses. Therefore, 85 businesses were sampled. Hope that helps. See you in class tomorrow.